let's review the next batch of Adventure Site contest entries from Cold Light Press. This is a kind of 3-page dungeon thing, basically. And today we're doing Legacy of the Black Mark, Lipley's Tavern, Lost Vault of Kaddish, Now Feshni Monastery, and Red Tower. Legacy of the Black Mark, Swords and Wizardry, so it's OD&D Retro. Danger is Real, levels 2 to 3, with playtester credits. The idea is this is in the Cursed Peaks. There is a frozen complex, which is a kind of tomb, proto-temple, let's say, with a bunch of Morlocks and spiders who were previously ruled by the Spider Sorceress Arcana. Some rumours: there's general status of doors are stone, 2 in 6 chance of being stuck, polished floors, and there's your encounter check. Each turn, so fairly high probability. It's 10 rooms. There's a couple of loops through it, as in you've got inner loops there, and there, and there, and not there, in fact. And you have an outer loop that comes in at various points, and so on. So, you know, very loopy-doopy. You've got locked doors, you've got secret doors, you've got traps, etc. Pit traps as well. All the normal things you'd expect. This is very good. I think the biggest strength here is that this fulfills a trope, and a D&D pulp trope, not a kind of Conan Fafford trope, but a D&D pulp trope of the tomb or proto temple with some tricks and traps, and the mixed ecology, which for anything more than a 3-room layer, I think it's really good to have just something slightly different. 1 room, 2 rooms set aside for something else that's not the main theme, for a bit of variety, for a different challenge. We also have to deal with this, not just this. We can't just pile everything up on undead when we go to the tombs, because there are also jackals, whatever, tomb jackals who are mutated. And the descriptions are nice. The interactions, there's some clever interactions. An obvious one here is that at 2 you can be transported via blood sacrifice to room 8, where you can join the worship and service of Arcana. If you don't and try to go through, the living statue attacks you. If you go through, either way, Arcana, the sepulchre of Arcana, all wearing the black mark, must pass the save or compulsory attack their companions, whilst the evil spirit of Arcana is trying to dominate a character without the black mark. And you've got your 6 zombie warriors as well. So you've got a kind of combination of 3 rooms there into some decisions. Do you take the potential advantage? The black mark also can help you. It can gives you infravision, talking to spiders, makes you chaotic, or buffs the stat if you're already chaotic. Your prime stat. So it's good. It's the black mark is interesting. You could all do it, and in which case, I guess, it's a very different kind of adventure, isn't it? But it's something where you've got some clever interactions, you've got some reasonable room descriptions. The one caution I have is, though I think some of the rewards are pretty good, there's a very slight caution that you're often taking a lot of danger from, moderate gain. Even at the off, a room that can collapse on you from a random encounter, it's violent activity, 2 in 6 chance of causing a collapse. You could lose half your party to that at 2nd level, 2d6 damage. And the thing you can get out of it is a healing potion and a potion of poison, which look the same, and taste tests, of course, will cause a save versus poison or die. Drinking it in battle, if it's the potion of poison, save versus poison or die. So you take it and get it identified. Your 2nd level, just give people consumables. I think this is, though a trick like that can be fun, that particular one is very simple and very flat, because they just look the same. It's not like there's several potions with slightly different appearances. What's going to be good, what's going to be bad? Or there's 6 potions, but 1 has gone off. So the odds are in our favour, but it could go wrong. It's just a 50-50, and I think the odds there discourage player exploration and testing, especially with consumables, which players suck at using. Or again, not so much this one, but say here, the fact that you could have one person's taking the black mark, but they then attack people. Someone else is dominated. There's 6 zombies attacking. You then defeat them, and you get 4,000 gold and a crystal ball. And that's quite good, the crystal ball particularly. But you can just see there's just a sense that for a second level party, a six character second level party, let's say, straight on that side, because that would make sense in terms of if this is for 12 total levels. Is that quite a tough encounter for what's going to give them, you know, what is a crystal ball? Because you can do to crystal. Oh, I saw it was released. The crystal balls give XP. Crystal balls. What's it called? Magic items. Magic items. Now let's have a quick check whilst we're here, whilst we're on the line. Yeah, like so. If you keep the crystal ball, it's worth 1,000, I guess. So you're talking about you're getting less than 1,000 each for treasure from a very major encounter. Here, one of the urns has frozen yellow mold. There's a trap, the pendulum cleaver, and the portcullises are stuck. This is just, I know it's Death's Antechamber, but this just sucks. Like, just don't touch stuff. You're not going to want to touch stuff anymore. Here, in the amongst the hanging heads, there's some Vargus from Monstrosities by Matt Finch, and the chest has a toxic cloud spray, which is save versus poison or die. The Vargus have a save versus poison or lose HP permanently. Yeah, and the treasure here, you've got I assume PO is GP, but whatever. Here you've got 2,003 and a bit thousand. So this is the big room, isn't it? This is over 8,000 in that chest, plus a ring of weakness and a scroll neutralized poison. Albeit again, we have a negative item. At this point, in 5 rooms, you're talking about this is not. So I'm not counting traps here, but negative interaction, marginal negative interaction to do with the black mark, negative interaction. So you're talking about 3.5 negative interaction because the black mark can cause you to turn against your friends. So that's 3.5 in 5 rooms. That is a very high number of crappy things to happen to you based on you playing the game, not based on you fighting monsters. By playing the game, I mean you get treasure and use it or whatever. Rather than, you expect to suffer fighting monsters, you expect to suffer with traps, and you expect there to sometimes be a nasty trick somewhere, and it can be very funny as well. But there needs to be a balance, and that's just slightly overbalanced there, I think. Also, 3 of the rooms at the top are empty, and they're all on the same side of the building. It's strange. I like the fact that Morlocks can be negotiated with. That's another good thing. So yeah, Legacy of the Black Mark, kind of vibes-wise strong, and some very nice interactions, and maybe just a little bit too dangerous low reward for the leveling. Lipley's Tavern by Grutzi. You see Grutzi is German because he does not use ordinal endings. He uses a good full stop because it's more efficient. He also uses the phrase malice, which only Continentals use. So here, a halfling adventurer made himself rich by making a deal with an Erinyes, and he built a tavern, and eventually someone burnt it down. You will notice that Grutzi's used 4-point text and triple layered it like a sort of ancient coded manuscript. So this is very dense text. Next time he's going to be going for microscopic. But yeah, it does mean you get a lot of stuff. You get 29 rooms over two levels, as it were. Yeah, you've got the tavern itself here, and you've got the cellars there, and you have random encounter table on there. You have monster locations on there. You have what happens, who's where in terms of monster locations and when they're there, and that relates in the key to whether they're asleep or not as well. And who controls where, the orcs are in green stuff, spiders, which are also webbed, which is relevant, in purple. So that's good. So presentationally, though the text is not in fact a 2 pages of text plus a map. This is 4 pages of text plus a map. It is it is presented clearly, and there's lots of information and desire to do give stuff, give the right information along the way. Like you'll be told what do people do in a particular room, or what's going on here, what are the reactions. Oh, they'll be spotted if you approach from the west, or oh, they're 50% likely to be asleep if they are there at that time. So yes, good. Very, very strong at that level already. The setup is interesting. It's a halfling tavern. That's nice. Oh, it's been infested with orcs and spiders. Oh no. And in fact, you have the current situation is set up not via a rumor, but by the assumption that you find his son, Gav, and Gav's 4 friends, who are all first level fighters. He's a second level thief. With the magic short sword, so he's better than your character, frankly. Levels 2 to 4. So he is kind of character level, and then the others are essentially hirelings. I think this actually, in a sense, as a 2 or 3 shot, I think, and let's say 2 shot if you're running at a reasonable pace. As a 2 or 3 shot, this is quite a realistic one to dump the players, having found Gav and his adventurers, his friends, who are being cautious about going because they've heard there's spiders there. They want to get his dad's stuff back. Trim dies down there, his spirit is there. But yeah, they don't know about the rest of the stuff. You've got information on Katera will try to get you to come with visions, come and help her. You've got stats here, including what spells the shaman has memorized, which is a good classic shaman one: command, cause light wounds, cause fear, speak with animals, and a staff of striking. So yeah, generous at that level. Barring the density, reading through it's mostly fine. You kind of want to be checking the map because the map, I'm thinking particularly the tavern itself, has a lot of different connections, basically bits in, bits out, which you're going to, I think, get confused about if you look at the map, then look at the text, never look back. I think you'll get confused. Yeah. This, again, it's got a good geography, like it's identified. It's this tavern. Now there's the cellars. It has ecology and factions. You can, though the orcs and the spiders are at peace, you can make them work against each other. It has people you can help. It has a merchant you can rescue. It has plenty of treasure. This is generous in terms of its treasure, albeit you've got some fairly heavy treasure, like wine that's £500 a barrel for 500 gold, or 3,000 gold for 2,000 pounds for this alchemical stuff. Albeit you could take that to your proto stronghold and use it, or hire someone to use it. You find a corpse in the kind of rancid, like fetid remains of a bath in the bathhouse, and the teeth are platinum and they're worth 100. Now there isn't a risk, say versus poison, or take a malus, if you will. But there's lots of interaction, lots of bits and pieces like that. There's the factional stuff. There's order of battle information. There's no one list anywhere, which I can find helpful. But the main treasure chamber, and in fact the orc leader's treasure chamber. Lots of stuff. I haven't tossed it up. You've got pretty generous stuff, including like a ring of telekinesis that's on Trim himself, up on his corpse, up in his solar where his ghost is. You've got a lockbox with a random treasure map, a scroll of protection from evil, 2 potions of healing, and so on and so forth. There's just there's good treasure, there's some dangerous enemies, there's spiders. I think only 1 giant spider. That's one thing, again, it's low level, so reducing the number of save or dies, not to nil. But the point is, you can't say to your 3rd level party who do not have neutralized poison, don't have slow poison or neutralized poison, may not have antidotes, they may not have bought any, or they might have 1, and then they're fighting 4 giant spiders or something, in a situation they can't manipulate. You ram them into it, and then suddenly it's a bad experience. I do remember once adapting a computer game Temple of Elemental Evil mission. my group going to a giant spider grove and burning down their webs, and that kind of neutralised it because they didn't want to fight them because they knew they're lethal. If you have a bypass, it's fine. But anyway, you want to kind of have that risk. It's a bit like level drain, incorporeal undead, particularly or whites. You don't want to be like, oh yeah, you're level 3. Here's 4 whites. I think that tends to be probably a bad bit of design because the players are going to not interact. They're going to disengage and flee if they know what's happening. But if it's one of a bad thing plus some other stuff, then it's both doable, and this is a game where there needs to be an opportunity for success, but it's also attractive to do because the players think, oh, well, the risk is okay, and then someone loses a level, sure, but everyone bought in. There's plenty of that here. There is confusing that I think there's chimneys, which is save versus breath weapon. That one gets. I think the other one says you take damage, but I don't know why. You also have huge spiders and large spiders. I think they are both type A onset. This is for AD&D, by the way. They're both type A onset, 15 damage, I think. Possibly, but with one giving a +2 to save. So yeah, that's that means that you've got stuff that can kill you. But if you're 4th level, kind of depends. Are they biting your fighter, your 4th level fighter who's leading the party? Well, he'll probably survive that. And you've got a turn or whatever it is, or 15 rounds or something. You also, you can pick up a strong cohort of helpers who might want a lot of the treasure. There's a bit of a trade-off there if you take Gav, at least. I mean, the adventurers maybe less so. I'm surprised they don't have slings. They should have slings. They're halflings. There's a lot of flavour to things like you've got the shaman's chamber, with having dissected and put back together a bunch of whichever it is, trash in the room, small animals. So yeah. This is with the slight usability problem of its density. That's very fun. Sai, it's the Lost Vault of Kadish by Jonathan Sai Becker for 3rd to 5th level. AD&D again, 1st edition, which is going to be part of another module and mega module, Desert Despair. The Oasis of Hidden Hisan Kadit. And I'll show you the map. Oh no, I won't show you the map here. Becca, here's the map. Again, we have the technology to quote Captain America. We've got to do better. This is the map, and you can see you've got an outside space, but this is actually the sinkhole. Up here is presumably where the oasis is, and that points you towards here, including your two with a spear that's on a statue in the oasis, which opens the door. And you can see here's a side area, there's bloodhawks up here and a kind of little cliff, and so you have the mixed ecology. This is, again, it's not massive, it's 11 rooms, but there are a few things. This, I think, needs to be marked properly because this is actually an entrance through. And this, so yeah, I wasn't completely sure when I first looked at the map what was going on compared to the text. But here, you don't have to deal with these centaurs, these centauri, led by Londo Malari. These centaurs, you don't have to deal with them. There's only a 1 in 4 chance per hour they're there. And you don't have to stay there. You can leave. You only want the information. But let's say you've seen this by the wayside. You've stopped there and then you see the statue. And then there's, in the sinkhole, there's large scorpions. There's bloodhawks. So you have some pretty natural threats, albeit complex natural threats. Monster-wise, the centaurs and there's an Efreet there from the Monster Manual. Everything else, one thing is Monster Manual 2, and I think the other 3 things are all Fiend Folio. So it's definitely going for the weirder selections. Bloodhawks, for instance, are Fiend Folio. Large scorpions are actually Monster Manual 2. May surprise you. The Dunstalker here, which I had forgotten existed, is a Fiend Folio item. You can get into the front room. There's a collapse, 2 ways forward, the collapse tunnel and the eternal flame, per the map. So there is a looped option. basically going this way, the seemingly easier way, which involves a puzzle at number 5 where you have to douse water in a particular way, then leads to essentially the monster rooms. You've got a monster room here, but you've got the remaining internal monster rooms are 6 and 7. Or you can go this way. 8 is, I think, just a dead room. It was where some of the builders were buried, evidently. And there's a library with a bunch of useful books and some special scrolls, which is fun. And then there's a secret room with a bunch of treasure. Look at that. Look at all that treasure. Potion of Longevity, 100 PP, Wand of Lightning, 3,300 gold. And, the risk of if you leave from 3 to 1, the Dunstalker will attack you if you've stolen the treasure. It will hunt you down. So, to be fair, it's not a monster room, but it is a future threat to do with stealing stuff. You can avoid all the monsters going via the collapse tunnel. Now, the rule there is mining tools or successful bend bars roll, so there is a limitation on it. Either someone has to succeed at bend bars, or you have to have tools. There's no kind of retry or anything. Otherwise that's and obviously your low level, your mid level party may not have that stuff. But there we are. I think there's a lot of flavour to this. I think it's definitely a good session to a session and a half. It's not incredibly dangerous because there's not loads of traps in the thing itself. That the trap to do the treasure is if you leave with treasure. You've got Hecuva who pretend to be young ladies, and I don't think your players will believe they're young ladies. So there is that. There's an Ifrit. This was slightly unclear whether or not when he jumps out he attacks. I mean, is he not bound by the Ifriti bottle? Presumably he is. But yeah, Azaku, the Ifriti. And yeah, I thought this was very good. I liked the fact there's a meta environment with the Oasis. I like the mixed ecology with the Scorpion. Basically, the Scorpions and the Bloodhawks are half the threat here. Ignoring the Centaurs, but more or less, the job here is for you to deal with those monsters and then solve a puzzle. And then there's one combat encounter inside you need to do if you're going that route, or you can get the right tools or bend bars and go the other. And then you've got to take the risk of having Tutankhamun's Curse. So, like Jeff's module, which is also 2 module, this is going for very archetypal tomb stuff. This is a very good archetypal tomb, very flavourful, and I liked that one. But you can compile maps into PDFs. Now, Feshni Monastery by Archives of Mu. Great, it is. This is high level, 8 to 10. This is, I think, one of only 2 maybe in the whole thing. Unplay tested, lol. Got a good photo. Good photo. This is a live photo of Now Feshni. A guy with a hero with the chainsaw is attacking him. This is fun. Jeff should like this. AD&D as well. Kaddish is AD&D. That's the thing. We've actually, I think, 4 of these. I think Red Tower is Swords and Wizardry. So all of these, 3 of these are AD&D and 2 OD&D. And actually, I think given we've only had 2 or 3 AD&D before, it's nice to run into a big glop of them. So there's a monastery, and it is... essentially, you could, if you're below the level range, you can handle the other upper level if you've got diplomatic skill or lots of weapons and stuff. But further down is worse. And there's rumours of a monastery, but also bad noises. You might be able to join. Plot hooks, rumours. That's useful. This is not a gag dungeon. But it has very strong humour both at the DM side, what you're being told, but also some of it's going to come out in the thing. I mean, there's stuff like, there's a curse ring of sets you on fire, which does D10 per round. I mean, even at 9th level, a cursed ring of sets you on fire is going to kill you pretty quickly, unless someone happens to be running Remove Curse. Depends on the party mix. Gatehouse, you've got Lacrotas. Here there is an outright error that evidently at one point there were bugbears guarding the gatehouse, and then they became skeletons, bow skeletons, oil skeletons, bugbears firing crossbows, bugbear dumping oil. There is this, which is horned werewolves. They can, 14 undressed men and women who might attack you, I guess. Half the fruit is deadly, half the fruit is not. You don't know which is which. There's you pick up the valuable skull, 2,500 gold, not that valuable, and you get green slime everywhere, but it also opens a secret door. Here, well, you get to fight a wight and some ghouls for a princely 25 gold. This is actually a theme. Basically, there's a lot of gags here. There's an ogre magus making food. Stocked. A prison is stocked with 3d6 maidens, but only near on holidays. There's a larder with corpses and a bit of treasure. The treasure that the human anchorites have is a bad habits. Bum bum. Jelly donut and 40 daggers of various impractical designs. So there's a lot of jokes. Evil yuppie cultists who want to build a city on your beloved home village. Lots of there's some minotaurs with an utterly princely 80 gold worth of treasure from defeating the two minotaurs. 2,000 gold in the secret treasure room, and then there's like the sub level of hell. Involves you can get some cool chainsword +1 bastard swords, which also have a follow-up attack. That needs a new XP rating, but I guess you could just count it as a +2 or something. But if you take it, then you get 665 manas and a type 4 demon, Portka. And I guess the point is you're meant to be able to know his true name, so you might be able to control him. So yeah, it's funny. I quite like the setting. I think there's some interesting things, like the fact that just there is now Feshni dwelling on site. I think the humour is zanier than my normal take is. I think the encounters, a lot of them are interesting. So the yuppie 9 HD vampire and 9 level 3 monks. Or again a wight and 4 ghouls, which for your 9th level party might not seem that bad. You should, you're hoping to turn them. But unmarked treasure here, by the way, it needs to be bolded. But 1 wight and 4 ghouls, that could be an irritating encounter. The one thing, as there's not wandering monsters, you do kind of have a problem that you can't have anything take advantage of players getting mired in that. But my big objection is not the humour, which is at times amusing, at times too much, but other people enjoy it more than I do. And I'd like a couple of these interactions to be better. But there's some fun things you can negotiate your way in. You could find some stuff, you can steal some stuff, like it's approachable that way, it's approachable in multiple ways. But I think actually just that there is evidently not enough treasure. This is a 9th level module, and virtually all the treasure is pretty much... There's a bit where the stairs in the mountain just hurt you. The gatehouse has no treasure. You could be rolling for the monsters themselves, but you shouldn't be rolling for monsters really in a developed module. I think their listed treasure should be standard. You've got werewolves who might attack you. I mean, yeah. There's 50-50 fruit. Same discussion. Again, no treasure. By the way, even the good stuff makes you grow horns and only heals chaotic characters. It's Goodberry, basically. The main thing also attacks you with green slime. That's okay, by the way. That's not unfair, but you get the point there. That you fight the level draining wight and the paralyzing ghouls who, if there's 5 or 6 of you, if you're running a small but correctly leveled party, you could still get really screwed by that if they surprise you. For 25 gold, you see the gold comes off as parodic. The actual concept and the map is good, by the way. I like the map. The concept and a lot of the bits in it are good. I think it just needs a big treasure upgrade. Finally, the Red Tower by Christoph Morandini for Swords and Wizardry. And this is a little oddity. That there is a blasted, in the last week, an army attacked the building. The sorcerer, yeah, there's still a mechanical siege engine. The sorcerer defeated the locals but disappeared, and then the servants went away, other than the former steward and the personal valet. The steward basically has decided to become, because the steward seems to be a chaotic cleric, but has decided to take this over as his own lair, and I guess the valet is more or less just doesn't know what else to do. It even says, he didn't know where to go. This is English second language, and that is okay. It's all perfectly understandable, but the biggest improvement that could be made here is having an English English copy editor. But yeah, there's two ways in. You can go in the front, or you can go in through the wild rose bush. There's a map at the end there, you can see, and there's you got characters, including some nice pictures by someone. Let me credit the artist, Ferenc Fabian. And yeah, so there's near the well. There's, I guess that's the steward. The steward, this odd relationship. You turn up at this place, and there's just these two odd humans, and it's not clear. Where's the sorcerer gone? The sorcerer's face up to the GM. No, I like people to tell me what's happened. That's more useful. I can change it if I want. Give me ideas. So the big thing here is that the two dragon newts, who are a Gabor Lux thing, one has escaped and is in the forest, and so if you drop this into a forest, you know that there's undead and there's some fleeing soldiers and there's a dragon newt in the forest, and that it'd be, in a way, you want that. I think doing what Becca did with the upstairs oasis, doing that with the forest area would be a good choice here, because then you can say, look, here is the meta area. Yeah, you've got the steward's upper room, 80 silver and a key. And yeah, some servants. One of them has 50 gold. I don't think I said the 5th level players. So yeah, here, this treasure is not very exciting for that. The stuff on the ground floor. There's a human control ring. That is good. That's a bit of a classic, burying it in the ashes. Players should dig in ashes more often. Decent book treasure. And then the treasure room. The door is closed but not locked. 600 silver, etc. Laboratory. And the laboratory has cool stuff. Acid bombs. There is a nasty gas trap, but I think in what is a fairly unaggressive environment, that's fair. And then, yeah, growth, clairaudience, frozen concoction. What's that? That may be a translation thing. Acid bombs, that's good. Lots of nice stuff. And remember, this potions and the treasure are gonna, and the human control room, if you get it, that's gonna give some real value to given the relative lack of risk. The main risk we've encountered so far, after all, is this. Then, but the steward, do we have a statement on where he is? Spends his time during the siege and the days after in the basement. Yeah, he's not in his room, is the point. Downstairs. Downstairs is where there's a bit more danger. You have a wine cellar. The steward might be here, or he might be in the small store. With the whole 5 silver. He by default has memorized Cure Light Wounds, Light, Hold Person, and Silence 15 foot. I feel like if you want him to be a threat, he can respond to the players, especially because the players are 5th level. I mean, there's a weird thing here where aren't the players just going to kill him if he seems creepy and weird and has stuff? But yeah, he doesn't have any other guards. Basically, that's one thing. Is he has the valet is essentially a 4 hit point. I think it's neutral. Yeah, 4 hit point 1st level fighter functionally. I don't think we actually. Yeah, saving throws are 17 plus. Attack weapon 1d8, so he's got a sword. So he's got one guy to help him with 4 hit points, but he has Cure Light Wounds and Light, Hold Person and Silence Word, but surely he wants Cause Light Wounds or something, Again, if he's a Chaotic Cleric, then we need him to... Oh, he's 5th level. Is a 5th level OD&D Cleric only going to have that many spells? I don't know. He doesn't like the sun, so that's fun. He's an interesting interaction, but 5th level Cleric, Anti-Cleric, with a low number of spells, and a single fighter helping him, single henchman. Not super challenging. But yeah, the big thing is that, apart from this stuff, there's also one of the dragon newts who's injured, who's worth 400 XP. He only has 11 HP, the one in the basement, because he's been injured. The other one has 25. But the acid range is 15 feet with damage 1d6 and corrosive. Does that mean continuing? No, that's going to mean item saves on metal, like as for green slime, I guess, that kind of thing. So yeah, essentially that's the thing. There is a further 860 gold. So there's a valuable encounter there in a courtyard. Would a 5th level party go in and fight it? Is there not a possibility? I guess, because there are no windows, I guess. So, yeah. Sort of questionable. There's a couple of relational things, actually, that aren't completely clear, again, that ties on an edit. But there's that kind of tough encounter. There's an anti-cleric who could, if his valet, who is presumably... Is the valet going to be in his room? Yeah, there's no mention of where he is, so probably here. It's an odd one where there's some nice treasure. There's a couple of good challenges. But it's... Maybe here's the thing, is it's an adventure site marginally. It might be more useful as a place to... you don't know where the sorcerer is, and the sorcerer might come back, so you've got to set up that. You need to have a sense of, like... The party needs to have a sense of, do they want to kind of clear out these people, or maybe use them, or maybe ally with them. A 5th level cleric who can heal them if they are like, well, we'll help you defend this place against the enemy. The local villagers who attacked you. Maybe just a bit more on those interactions would be good. Because I think if it's that they turn up and they decide, we want to take this place, very legitimate, it's going to be a bit of a walkover for a fairly good reward. And that's as a comparison to Legacy of the Black Mark, where you have this very strong vibe and some good dangers, but not very much reward. I think the Red Tower has a good vibe, I should say. This kind of odd, even though it's only the siege only happened a week ago, this slightly kind of knackered, tired place with these 2 weird servants and a missing sorcerer. Good vibe, good treasure, but the risks involved. There's a gas trap, there's a garrison of 2 people, and there's 1 monster who you can avoid. Now, if this adventure also had the forest area, I think, and you had the kind of dealing with the fleeing soldiers, with some undead, and with the other dragon newt, then I think you'd have a strong environment where this would just form the centerpiece, which could, I think, as a future base, that's an obvious one. And in fact, that might be how I use this here, is as a place, because my players in most of my games desperately want bases. But yes, anyway, there we go. Red Tower. I think what you can see is the biggest praise I can make so far is that there is a massive variety of concepts, mostly in the middle to lower range, but massive variety of concepts, and where they are picking up tropes, they tend to be very, very strong. So the tombs, halfling tavern, abandoned wizard's tower, tomb temple, things like that. They do very well, and I think all of them are usable so far. So we'll see how the last 4 go next week. Till next time.